Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's topic, I'll be telling you some of those signs and symptoms that when you start experiencing them, it means definitely you are ovulating, or maybe you are almost approaching your ovulation. So if this is your first time watching me, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell. And please don't forget to share this video with others so they can also see this. Maybe this knowledge might be very important for them. And for all my returning subscribers, I'm always happy to have you here. And if this is your first time watching me, you are highly welcome. So let's go, guys. So like I said before, I'll be telling you some of those signs and symptoms of ovulation. But before I get into that, what is ovulation? You should understand when your ovulation is taking place and what also is ovulation. Ovulation simply means fertile, means you are fertile. And ovulation is that time in your menstrual cycle when your eggs are being released. So when your eggs are being released, it's preparing you for fertilization. So when your eggs are being released, definitely there will be waiting for sperm to come and fertilize the egg. And in this process, that is the time within your menstrual cycle that you are fertile. And normally this ovulation usually occurs within the middle of your menstrual cycle. Let's take for example, for someone having a 28 days menstrual cycle, their ovulation is going to be on day 14. That is within the middle of their menstrual cycle. And one thing you should take note is that this ovulation at times will occur 2 days before that predicted day, and it might occur at times 2 days later. So it might be early like 2 days, and it can be late like 2 days after. So those are the things you have to take note. But definitely it usually occurs within the middle of your cycle. So right in this video, I'll be telling you some of those signs that you can easily experience, and those symptoms that when you start experiencing these changes in your body, definitely it's showing you are ovulating, or maybe you are almost ovulating. So all of those signs I'll be telling you in this video. And one thing you have to understand is that most of the times the normal duration of the menstrual cycle is within 21 days to 35 days. So if your own menstrual cycle it's less than 21 days, it might be as a result of some underlying condition, or maybe it's nothing that you should be worried about. And also for some people, they have a menstrual cycle of more than 35 days, which falls within an irregular menstrual cycle. So normal menstrual cycle it's within 21 days to 35 days, and the days you are supposed to be bleeding it's within 2 to 7 days. So if within your menstrual cycle you are bleeding for less than 2 days or for more than 7 days, it might be as a result of maybe some certain kind of underlying conditions, medical conditions. So if you have some of those bleeding less than 2 days or more than 7 days, you can equally check that with your doctor. So in this video now, I'll be telling you those signs and symptoms that when your body starts experiencing them, it's showing you are ovulating. If you have, for example, like a 28 days menstrual cycle, your ovulation, you should be expecting your ovulation around day 14. That is around the middle of your menstrual cycle. And at times this ovulation can occur 2 days before, and at times 2 days after day 14. So it's never really exact. That's why they always call it like your predicted ovulation day. So these are the things you just have to take note. But you can also monitor this your body signs, and the first sign I'll be telling you is to observe your cervical mucus. You know, from the beginning of your menstrual cycle to the end of your menstrual cycle, within that period you produce different types of cervical mucus. So if you are someone that is always monitoring your cervical mucus, you will know when you are definitely ovulating, because the kind of cervical mucus you are going to be producing within day 14 for someone with a 28 days menstrual cycle will be different, or within the time when you are ovulating will be quite different. At the beginning of your menstrual cycle, your cervical mucus is always very thick and tacky to prevent sperm from moving through. But when you are approaching day 14, as your estrogen level is increasing, getting towards the peak, your cervical mucus is also changing. Within that time, the kind of cervical mucus you are going to be producing will be very light white. You will be watery and very sleepy. A good example of this will look like a raw egg white. That is the kind of cervical mucus you are going to see. If you can feel it, it's going to be very sleepy, and the quantity you are going to be producing during this time, it's going to be increased as compared to the quantity you produce from the start of your menstrual cycle. And after your ovulation, this cervical mucus, it's also going to change. At times it becomes completely watery and dry, or you might not even notice that you are producing cervical mucus. So this is the first sign. When you start seeing this kind of cervical mucus that is like raw egg white, very slippery, and it's very damp and moist, definitely you are ovulating. The second sign I'll be talking about is increase in your basal body temperature. What do I mean by a basal body temperature? Your basal body temperature is that body temperature that when you are at rest, like you are not doing anything, that is the normal body temperature you have, which is within 36 degrees Celsius to 36.4 degrees Celsius. So when there is an increase in that body temperature within your menstrual cycle, definitely you should be expecting that you are ovulating, or maybe you are about ovulating. So most of the times this change in body temperature will last within 3 to 4 days. So when you start experiencing that change in body temperature within your menstrual cycle, it's indicating a sign of ovulation. So those are the minor things you should just observe. You have to pay close attention, check, and you also have to know your body so well to be able to realize or notice some of these small changes. And for basal body temperature, you can also use a normal basal body thermometer to check the change in body temperature. If you cannot easily detect that normally, you can use a thermometer that will help detect this change in your body temperature. The next sign I'll be talking about is breast tenderness. For some people, when they are almost approaching the middle of their menstrual cycle, which is their ovulation, they tend to have breast soreness, which might be mild. At times it's very intense, and the breast becomes very sore. But one thing I want to emphasize here is that this can also be as a result of pregnancy. So pregnancy can also lead to breast tenderness or breast soreness, all of these. So but definitely breast tenderness is also another sign of ovulation for some individuals. The next I'll be talking about is increase in sex drive. This is just like a normal process that occurs in a human being. That's why your sex drive is increased within your fertile window. And this is as a result of the fact that it's preparing you for conception naturally. So if you are someone who doesn't like sex, or you don't feel like having sex, normally when you are about ovulating, or when you are getting closer to your ovulation period, your sex drive tends to increase. So it's preparing you for this conception period. So when you start experiencing an increase in self drive, your sexual libido has increased, definitely it could be a sign of ovulation. So these are the signs of ovulation you will be experiencing. But however, if you are kind of depressed, if you're mentally stressed, or you have some problems, definitely you might not experience this increase in sex drive. You might not even notice it as a result of being stressed or kind of depressed. Okay, so these are some of the little things that you have to pay close attention to be able to know that definitely this is the time in which my body is ovulating. This is a time in which I am ovulating. The next sign I'll be talking about is ovulation pain. Some people call it pelvic cramp. So normally when your egg is being released from your ovary, that's the follicle that are holding the egg, for some individuals they tend to feel this sharp pain. It might occur around one side of your abdomen, or maybe on both sides of your abdomen. So when you feel this sharp pain, it's equally indicating that your egg has been released from your ovary. So when this happens, you will feel this sharp pain. This pain might be mild, intense, or very severe, but it usually lasts just for some few minutes for some individuals, and for some individuals they might not even notice this ovulation pain. So that is another sign you can easily tell, like, this is the time in which I'm ovulating, or this is the time in which I'm equally fertile. So the next sign I'll be telling you about is ovulation predictor kit. So this ovulation kit is just like pregnancy kit. It works same like pregnancy kit, but for the ovulation kit, they help to detect the level of luteinizing hormone. These are hormones that tend to increase during ovulation. So when these ovulation kits tend to be positive, it's equally indicating that you are definitely ovulating. So if you are experiencing all of this, it's showing you are definitely ovulating. So the next sign I'll be talking about, it's your heightened sense of smell. During the period of ovulation, your sense of perception of smell can equally increase, or at times it can equally decrease. So all of these changes could equally be a sign of ovulation. That's why I keep saying you have to pay close attention. You monitor your body signs and the little changes that are occurring in your body. You can, with this, if you can monitor them closely, definitely you will be able to tell when you are ovulating and when you are not ovulating. So all of these little signs are going to tell you when you are definitely ovulating. The next I'll be talking about is abdominal bloating. Yes, many people, they tend to experience this when they are about ovulating. So hormonal changes will tend to lead to fluid retention, bloating, and gasness. So when you start experiencing these things, definitely you are ovulating. The next sign I'll be talking about is light spotting. So for some individuals, around their ovulation or around the middle of their menstrual cycle, they start having this reddish to brownish spotting on their pants. So when you find this, for some individuals, it's indicating that they are ovulating. The egg from the ovary has been released. So when that happens, they have some reddish to brown spotting on their pants. The next I'll be talking about is change in your cervix position. You know, when you are not ovulating, your cervix is usually down, and it's from your vagina to your cervix, the length is shorter. But when you start ovulating, the length from your vagina to your cervix becomes wider. Or let's take the vagina to be a tunnel. At the end of that tunnel is your cervix. So it's like the beginning of the hole is your vagina, the end of the hole is your cervix. So that's how it is. So during ovulation, it becomes wider like this, and after ovulation, it becomes closer to the vagina, making the length to be reduced, and also it becomes tighter, like that hole, the edge of it becomes very tight. Next ovulation sign I'll be talking about will be your vulva. For this, it's very minimal. Some people tend to experience this, but many individuals will not experience this. Some people will tell you when they are about ovulating, the labia major will tend to be swollen. So when you start experiencing this, for those that really take good look at your vulva always, you will notice that the vulva, that's the labia major or the labia minor, will become more swollen. I know many people get confused with the vulva and the vagina. If you look at this picture here, you will notice everything you can see when you look down in the female reproductive organ. What you can see with your naked eyes, that is known as the vulva, and what is known as the vagina is that tiny hole, the tiny hole that goes in, that is the part which is known as the vagina. Everything you see outside, it's called the vulva. So when you start experiencing all of these minor signs I've listed here, it means you are fertile. That is the time in which you are fertile. That is the time in which you are ovulating. Your eggs are being released. So for someone that has been looking for a baby and has been trying many times, this is a time in which you should focus, have sex with your partner so you can easily get pregnant. You know, some people find it difficult to conceive because most of the times they tend to have sexual intercourse with their husband at the wrong time within their menstrual cycle. So if you can have sex with your husband when you are definitely ovulating, it's going to increase your chance of getting pregnant easily. You are not going to stress. You are not going to try numerous times. So once you know all of these little signs and changes that are occurring within your body, you can equally tell when you are ovulating. ovulating. And also, if you find it difficult for you to easily detect your ovulation or when you are ovulating, you just need to track your menstrual cycle. You can use the calendar method. I did a video for that. I'm also going to drop a link down so you can also calculate your menstrual cycle and know when you are fertile. Or if you find all of this being very difficult for you, there are ovulation kits. There are different ovulation kits out there. They have the description on how to use them. You can buy them and use them to monitor your ovulation. So all of these signs I've listed here in this topic, I want you to understand that for some individuals they might not experience them, and for some other individuals they are going to experience most of these signs. But however, you might not experience them, that doesn't mean you are not ovulating. You might not experience any of these things I've mentioned here, but definitely you will be ovulating. So if you have any problem or any worries regarding your ovulation or anything, please kindly check with your doctor. So stay tuned, keep in touch, subscribe, like, and turn on your notification bell, so if I drop the next video, definitely you will be the first to watch. Thanks for always being there, and love you all. Ciao.